The subtitle of your book talks about living with honor.
Yep.
What does it truly mean to you to live with honor, and how does that relate to the teachings of Jesus Christ?
Living with honor in general, I feel like involves the golden rule, which a lot of people, because they've heard it so many times before, would think, oh, that's elementary, that's really simple. Yes, love your neighbor as yourself, or do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All the different variations of that. Some of that exists in pretty much every major world philosophy or religion. And we've heard it so many times, I think we've become desensitized to how completely radical and strange that is, especially since we don't see many people living it out. Except a lot of people in this generation are catching on to the idea of loving your neighbor as yourself in the area of social justice, and that's been my passion for a long time, specifically with modern day slavery. I found out there are more than 27 million people physically enslaved in the world when I was 12. Started a fundraiser in my church and in my school, and that was where the first 3 books came from that I wrote. So it was all out of that I really was sort of starting to connect with the hurting in the world, with people, with Jesus. But what I found was that when I was hurt or when I was wounded, that even though I was doing my best to treat people that lived halfway around the world with dignity and respect and try to help them out of bad situations and everything by raising funds and awareness, I was treating my friends and family like garbage, and that wasn't okay. I realized that something had to change. So honor is about consistency. Honor is about being as consistent with our public lives of service, making sure that is consistent to how we treat people in our personal lives. I've gotten some really, really positive reviews, people who are saying that they'll recommend it to their friends, people who are saying that this inspired me and makes me want to change, makes me want to live differently. I've also gotten responses from people who I'm not totally sure read the entire book, saying things like the way he talks about Scripture is inherently dangerous. One quote, to paraphrase this quote, said something like, the way I talked about one of the principles flirts with elevating man to a divine level. While I disagree, they are really wonderful and controversial things because they get people curious about the book. So while I don't think that stuff is the case, I would challenge people to read it and see if it has any merit. And if they have problems, yeah, absolutely check what I write with Scripture. Don't take what I say as gospel truth. You know, I mean, that's a huge part of the book is doubting and seeking and searching and finding.
A lot of people would think of chivalry as being archaic or old-fashioned. Like, what would you say to people who have that response?
My definition of chivalry basically stems from a code of the knights that I found through doing some research online. So basically, I found sort of 2 different codes that could reflect chivalry, how we view it historically. One of them was called Rules of Royal Courtship, and that was sort of more of how we think about chivalry in a modern context, about opening doors and being polite and everything, which is all very good, but it wasn't as transformative in nature as some of the principles in the Knight's Code that I found. So some of those include I will never attack from behind, which could translate into modern day verbal backstabbing. I will respect life and freedom. I will fear no evil. In that chapter I talk a lot about fear in general. So the entire book is about being kind rather than just nice. It's about doing things because you want to, not because you have to. It's about an internal transformation that causes us to want to live to a higher standard, which looks pretty crazy and countercultural when you try to live it out.